Liv Allen, welcome. It's your second appearance on Nurture the Mind, and this is a special edition. I feel like even more special than last time because we're going to get into our music taste and what we listen to and what that is all about. And I feel like I have to give you a gift in the fact that we share such a deep appreciation, pretty much the same type of music taste, I would say. We probably branch out a little bit, but I have 2 copies of Igor in CD format, so I am going to give you one. Let me just make sure that there's actually a CD in there. Yes, there is. Here you go. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
What are you, Nardwar?
I strive to be, but.
Are you gonna pull out some random obscure information about my past that no one else knows about?
No, because you're pretty closed off. Like you won't give me enough information. You just give me your music taste.
Well, that's what Nardwar does. He finds it out himself.
That's true, but
that's why everyone runs out of his interviews or thinks he's the feds.
Yeah.
Because
how does he has he ever talked about how he gets access to that information?
I don't think so.
How does he is he just really good at researching and looking at past interviews of artists?
I don't know. I looked at his Wikipedia page one time because I was just curious to how he became a music journalist per se, and he's from Canada. I think. And then he's also in a band. He makes music as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's in I think it's rock, something like that. But yeah, he's in a band. And his first interview was a rock artist as well. And then he just kind of went crazy as he developed more. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's just an intensely good researcher.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, his interviews are crazy. I love watching them.
Yeah, it's every artist that he interviews, their mind is just fucking blown in half at the material that he's able to find out and the shit that he gives to him.
Uzi left.
Really?
Have you seen that clip? He turns to Kim and goes, or no, he turns to his little entourage. He goes, "Yo, he knows too much." And then
he's part of the Illuminati.
He's like, "You the feds or something?" And then he's like, "We gotta go." And then he leaves.
Oh my god.
He gets into his car, and then Nardwar does the do, and then he rolls down the window and goes do or something, and then they drive off. So funny. But yeah, I really would like to know how he's able to do that and how he's able to do it so consistently.
Yeah.
It's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, the last one I watched was with Brockhampton, and that one was interesting too because there's so many members. So it's not just one artist. He was even giving gifts to the people that aren't they're in the group, but they don't perform in the group. So the guys that are standing in the back.
Videographer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had a little separate segment with him. Well, not separate, he was with everyone, but he
brought him down
specifically to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I wish they would have done an updated one with Mac, because when they did Mac's recording, he was a lot younger. And I think they've done 2 Tyler the Creators, if I'm not mistaken, right? They did one when he was younger, and then they did a newer version of one.
Yeah, the second one, Tyler walks in and he's like, "What's up, you sexy man?" to Nardwar, and then Nardwar says something, and then he's they're walking down to the interview room, and Tyler goes, "I'm drunk right now." It's just so funny.
That's awesome.
Oh, I love Tyler.
Yeah, and then there's that one with Earl, and then he's with Sid, but it's such a young version of Earl. I wish he would go back at older artists, older versions, and then do more updated ones. But I mean, he would probably still pick some of their bigger influences. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's so damn creative, and the ability to make it so unique to them. I think that's why he's so successful. We were talking earlier about people who do music reviews. He's kind of interesting. He doesn't do music reviews, but he knows enough of their past.
Yeah, he
or
knows so much.
Or their taste, and so to give them an interesting surprise when they come on.
Mm-hmm. I really like the Hot Ones interviews also.
Is that the Wings?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which those extend to pretty much any celebrity. But I like watching the ones about musical artists, but specifically rappers, because I think Sean the dude is really good at like, you know, his research and talking about. He likes to focus more on the present, like their more recent accomplishments and what they plan on doing and why. But those are fun to watch too. Also, they're just like dying inside because there's like ghost peppers in their mouth.
The one that I think the only one I watched was with Big Sean, and that was maybe around the time that he was releasing Detroit 2, but they went on like this spiritual journey through like having all those different stages of hot wings. But yeah, like Big Sean was like, dude, like you're fucking good. Like, how do you know that shit?
Yeah.
But that's like, I don't know, like honestly, as I get older and like going through college and whatnot, like I would love to be like a Zane Lowe, like just talk to like all the musicians in the world, like about their recent works. Like that would give me so much like gratitude to do something like that.
Yeah, I was talking to someone and I was like, once I get burnt out of like actual journalism, like news or whatever I cover, which the burnout rate is exceptionally high for that profession, so I don't doubt that it'll happen to me. I, you know, obviously like I love it, but you know, it's a hard job.
It's exhausting.
I was like thinking, I was like, you know, if I could pick my perfect life once I get burnt out with that, just like do like those types of pop culture like interviews and segments, that'd be so cool. Plus you get to meet them all.
Yeah.
Which would be so conflicting because like having to maintain that professionalism and like actually interview them like while I'm just like pissing myself fangirling.
Yeah.
I'd have to figure out how to do that. Like, I could not imagine Kendrick Lamar sitting down with me. I think I'd either piss myself or faint.
Yeah. I thought about that like last year. I made a video on my YouTube channel. It was like a Q&A, so people that were friends with me on Facebook or wherever could send me in messages, and I don't remember what the question was, but like, you know, what are some of my goals, or like where would I want to take the whole podcasting or like YouTube channel? And I was like, dude, like honestly, like if I could sit down with Earl Sweatshirt and have a conversation, like I don't know what I would do with myself. Obviously I would hope that it would be Mac, but he passed, so I think Earl would be my second option. But I've even thought like talking to like Mac Miller's family. You know, hopefully at that point they would be like open to talk about what went on when he died. But
or just like I would love to learn about his upbringing.
Yeah.
Just to learn how he became the person he is, because he's such an incredible person. So that would be.
Well, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we don't know like the whole depiction of like what went on in his life and why he had all those demons, but I think he had like a fairly consistent and like good childhood. Like I know him and his mom were really close. I don't know what the relationship was with his dad, but it just makes me wonder, like, was it fame? Like, was it all that weight that he was carrying? And then he had the breakup with Ariana Grande, and that like, I feel like a lot of people in that position, they get the fame, but they realize like it's almost more of a detriment sometimes, because all of his shit was put on blast for people to see. And like he said this in an interview with Zane Lowe, like when Swimming was coming out, and he's like, you know, I already have my own thoughts and feelings and emotions towards the situation, so like how do you think I feel when all these other people are commenting on like my breakup? And then he crashed his it was like maybe a BMW or like a Range Rover in the pole, and it's like, it's kind of true though, like you got to stay away from that stuff when you're in the limelight. Like, don't look at the comments and what everybody's saying.
That's interesting too, because I was like going through all the XXL classes because I was trying to figure out which one I thought was the best, and I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up. I don't remember what year he was in, but he was in the same class as Kendrick.
Yeah.
Mac Miller.
I feel like it's like 2011 or 12.
11, yep. YG was in that. Yellow Wolf. Lil B.
Lil B?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He was like.
Him and Mac Miller were tight.
He was so like iconic for like during the Vine days. I feel like, because people would be like thanks Bass God or whatever.
Yeah, well, he had the Bass God curse that he would like cast on like NBA players or like musicians, and then like it gained traction at some point because it was like actually coming true. Like he would say it to like NBA players, and then their team would do shitty, and everyone's like, oh, it's the Bass God curse.
He went off in their cipher. Like couldn't even tell you if I really like sat down and listened to any of his music really. I just knew him as like a personality, honestly. But in that cipher, like he was spitting, so he's like, I don't know. I feel like he could have done something, but he still had his moment in the limelight or whatever. But it's just funny. But anyway, I was looking at their like discussion that they all have, and Yellow Wolf was talking to everyone, but he was kind of like specifically talking at Mac and Kendrick because they were the two youngest in that group. And he was basically saying like if you love this shit, like you're gonna like sacrifice your life to it, blah blah blah. He was like, don't get caught up in all this fame bullshit because like it's going to have its consequences, and you need to make sure if you're serious about this that like you just like are willing to like lay down your life, like do this and that for it. And like he's gonna be like, it's like it can be a dangerous, like basically talking to how serious like this shit is once you're in it.
It's power,
so I thought
right? Like to have all those people screaming your name and going to your concerts and like singing to your songs, like that could easily go to somebody's head. And I feel like a lot of those people that we probably look up to like had those moments in the beginning, but got humbled out. I think Mac found that too along the way, and like you can certainly see that through his music. Like we were talking earlier about evolutions of artists, and he's one of the most interesting coming in as like that typical frat rapper, like appealing to like white young kids like my age when I found him. But then at the end of his career, it was like a whole separate version of him. And I think even that even kind of happened with Logic too, because Logic retired and he was like, you know what, like fuck all this fame shit, like it doesn't really mean anything. Because then he became a dad, and he's like, well, like this is the move now, and no rappers are talking about being a dad in their raps. And
he got a little caught up too with like, I think he had some big, I don't know if it was big, but he had like some relationship scandal, and it's just really? Like,
I remember that. No, I think with him too, this is another kind of theme with artists, is they are very like hungry in the beginning. Like you look back at Logic, and Under Pressure, I would say, is like one of his best albums. But then when he got the fame and the notoriety, I feel like he became more corny, and I didn't really care for his shit. But then his last album, No Pressure, which was kind of like a sequel to Under Pressure, that was the last one he dropped before he like quote unquote retired. And I felt like that was actually like true Logic right there, like getting back to his base. So that's interesting, is that like artists, it's like they lose their sense of creativity. Like fame can fuck with your head and like how you make music.
Yeah, definitely.
But I lost my train of thought.
I think that, so we were also talking earlier about like kind of like the new wave rappers and whatever. I think that might be, and again, I'm going to say that I'm not hating on any of these rappers. I actually am a fan of quite a few of these guys, at least like some of their work. But we were talking about like Uzi, we were talking about like Uzi, and just kick you.
She's just mad because our top 5 wasn't the same.
Yeah, basically. We were talking about like Uzi and like Kodak and like those guys, and how they have some good songs for sure. Like I'm a fan of some of his stuff, and like, but he definitely has that like character, and I feel like because they like were given fame so quickly. Like I think after like the freshman like class thing kind of became like popular, like their cipher is like very popular. I think like they just got such a big fan base really quickly. Like I feel like some of these other artists, like they started out small, a little more underground, like gained like they were kind of like in the middle there, and then they got like very successful. But like these guys, I think it was just kind of like they were making music like kind of more underground, and then they just blew up. And I feel like that's why they're like more consistent with like their styles, and that's why I don't see them really developing as much as some of these other artists, is because they're trying to appease that crowd that just like fell in love with them. Like they fell in love with them like quickly and like how they were, which is why they're kind of just like keeping that spectacle and keeping that like character out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Does
you
that
think
make
it's
sense?
more like a persona? Like it's not like they're obviously good artists, but they don't really dig introspectively. I'm assuming there probably are some songs where they do get introspective, but like if we're talking in terms of the evolution aspect, that was like a big theme that was in my top 5 was artists that have evolved and have like changed their style and changed their message. Like they, to me, seem like they always kind of bring the same set of lyrics. Like you kind of know what to expect
or just
going
the same
into
themes. Like Uzi's like established himself as this like otherworldly like persona and character. Like this creative, just like it's like almost like alien like he always references like that he's not from Earth and stuff, and like he gives off those like, you know, like spacey, like kind of unconventional, kind of punk vibe, and that's like what caught on fire so quickly. And I think that's why he's probably just going to like stick to those themes because that's what gave him fame, and like that's what his fans like about him, which is like respect, like, and like I said, I'm a fan of quite a few of his songs, but I just kind of like see that as why they may, you know, stand aside from like some of these other artists.
So you feel like they kind of have their own lane and they can't really go outside of that. Like they fit into a certain spectrum of rap and hip hop.
Yeah, and like there's no problem with that. Like, you know, to each their own. Like we need those different lanes, and like, you know, everyone can dip into multiple, like I do. But like I kind of see them as being more comfortable in staying in those lanes, you know, like not trying to like, you know, Tyler could have stayed consistent with his like early shit, like looking at Wolf, Cherry Bomb, and Goblin. Like he could have just stayed like that the whole time.
Dude, and he got shit on for Cherry Bomb.
Yeah.
People didn't like that album.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like all his old shit pretty much, but
it's
like,
not his best album, but I didn't think it was shit.
Yeah, no. But like, you know, he could have stayed like that. He could have been rapping about like, you know, been all shock factor, all like hard, like but he didn't. Like he explored, he like kind of, you know, broke out of that shell, and like, you know, obviously it worked for him. I just see some other artists, like some of the, you know, more new wave rappers per se, is just being more comfortable staying consistent, which there's no problem with that. Like
what do you think about the aspect of mumble rap? Because that's what's given them a lot of flack too, is that like all the older OGs are like, this isn't, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
I know Snoop Dogg was going in.
I would assume some of them respect it, but then there are people that are like, this isn't real rap, you know?
Yeah, and that's how I was for a while. Like, honestly, I was very close-minded to that stuff.
I really liked Migos, though. Like, when they first came out, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
This is different.
And they're kind of like, I wouldn't call them mumble. I guess, yeah, but they're also very heavy, like, trap artists, too. But, like, they just, like, their beats go so hard, and, like, you know, you just, like...
But again, I would say Culture... Is it Culture 1? Culture 1 is a great album, but then they go to... Or wait, is it Culture 1? Yeah, Culture, and then they do Culture 2. They're another group where I think, like, okay...
They
like,
stay pretty...
I think they have so much potential, but they limit themselves.
Yeah.
And the same thing with, like, Uzi and all these people. Is like, I don't think they ever really take risks creatively. They stick to a mold that has gotten them a certain fan base or like reach a certain demographic of people, but they can't leap outside of that. They can't like take the next step as to what that means. And okay, maybe they're comfortable with that. I'm saying like I respect the artist. Like Max said it perfectly in one of his interviews, is that every time I make an album, I learn something new about myself, and I'm always confronted with the aspects of my personality, or like subconsciously, like the things that I don't like about myself, I find out when I make an album. That's interesting. And I've had people that I've met, specifically talking about Tyler the Creator, that were like, well, I want the old Wolf Tyler the Creator back. And I'm like, I like it too, but I also like Igor, and I like where he's at, and I respect that. Why would you ever want an artist to make the same thing that they've already made? Because it's already there, it already exists.
And the fact that like he was able to do so successfully just really kind of speaks to how great of an artist he is. But yeah, no, I'd say Migos definitely fits in that category too, but like obviously they've been very successful and it works for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I'm a fan of them as well.
They also are kind of trendsetters for the music that they created, because they were if you want to call them mumble rap or whatever they do, they were kind of when I think of it, I'm like, they're like the significant group or artist that like stands out, like where it started to like kind of branch and take a different turn. Because when I started listening to them, I actually really started listening to Travis Scott too. And that was like a whole...
I really wouldn't consider Travis a mumble rapper though.
No, I wouldn't consider him mumble rap.
But...
And again, he's such a complex artist.
Yeah,
like it's like when you listen to his music, I'm not even tripping, but I feel like I'm like on acid or...
I think Travis is interesting because I'd say artistically, yeah, he's grown, but when I think of like him as like a progression, I don't really think he's necessarily had this huge like character or musical progression like Tyler has or Mac. I think it's just like each of his albums has such a variety of different like songs and themes and vibes, and like that's like why he's so good, is because he can do it all really. Like he has chill songs, he has like heartfelt like lovey songs, but then he also has fucking trap songs that go crazy. He has some like chill music, like he can sample, like he's extremely talented.
I also think he brings the best out of the artists that come on his tracks. So like you and I were talking earlier, like what is your opinion of Drake? And you're like, oh, he's washed up, that's soft.
Don't say that in the microphone, must get all the Drake dick writers are gonna be.
Oh well, I don't think my podcast is big enough for the Drake dick writers to come out of the fucking corner and be like, Liv Allen of Simpson College. But if there's one song, well, I mean, there's older Drake that I could really bop to, but I love Sicko Mode. You have to love Sicko Mode.
That's like one of those like mainstream songs. Like you can't make fun of anyone for liking it because it's a great song. Yeah. Like it gets you hype. Like it's wonderfully composed, like the beats are crazy, the flows are crazy, like but
even like James Blake, who's really come into his own, like Travis is the one who believed him, or like Don Toliver is now signed to that label.
Or like one of the first times I heard Gunna honestly was off of Astro World, Yosemite, and like I just think like he made him seem so melodic, which I think is like what his voice is good for. Like kind of like, I don't know, Yosemite's a very like vibey, melodic song, and I think like those work really well for Gunna's like rap style, and like that just highlighted it perfectly. Like that's literally the reason that like I decided to check out some of Gunna's music, because I was kind of the same way. I was like, well, this is more of like a newer guy, like I'm not quite sure if like I fuck with that style yet completely, but like I started giving him a chance, and like again, like Uzi, I found a lot of songs that I really like from him.
And also with Travis, he's very experimental, so like outside of making music, like this whole last year he had done collaborations with like McDonald's, Nike, PlayStation 5. He
made the Jack Boys.
Well, that was
Jack Boys?
It was like a...
No, that was before. What did he... What was his most recent? That was like the one that had like Out West.
That was Jack Boys.
Okay, Jack Boys. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Which has like Don Toliver, and then there's like a few other Young Thug is on there.
Yeah, he like does a bunch of those collaborative like projects too.
But
which are
last year when quarantine started, like into April, he did a concert on Fortnite, and it was fucking amazing. And he was the first one to do it, and then it like sparked this series of like, it made musicians think like, okay, well, how are we gonna capitalize now because we can't do concerts? It was amazing. Like I was like, dude, this feels like I'm at a real concert, and like I don't play Fortnite anymore. More people will probably give me flack for that too. They're probably Drake dick writers. They probably also play Fortnite. But he's just so interesting because he does so many different things, and I don't think he's right off the coattails of like dating a Kardashian either. Like, is he still with her?
I don't think so.
No? Did they split up?
I think they're like on good terms, but I think they did split up.
You should never date a Kardashian. It like never ends well.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really kept up with that. Or I don't really know what's going on with the whole Kanye and Kim situation because I heard they were getting a divorce.
Oh yeah, I heard that too.
I don't really know that.
Well, is he supposed to be releasing Yandi? That's like
Is that a 2021 project too?
I don't know.
Kendrick is supposed to have one coming out in 2021.
You think he will? You think he will drop it?
I fucking hope so. I can't think about it too long because I just get too emotional about it. This man needs to drop new music. I can't take this any longer. Kendrick, if you hear this, drop new music. I'm tired of waiting. Love you.
He's definitely gonna watch this podcast now that you said that.
Kendrick, I know you'll hear this. Please drop new music. I'm literally begging you. Anyways, Young Thug is supposed to come out with a new album in 2021, I believe. Drake, Certified Lover Boy. Wasn't that supposed to come out in January?
I don't know, because he dropped that demo tape last year. I don't even know if it's considered an album. It was a lengthy project. There's at least like 15 tracks on there.
Who else is supposed to release?
We need a project that is gonna like unify people and like I miss like I would say Man on the Moon 3 was the last project that really felt like everybody was kind of in tune and listened to it at the same time. Because I remember seeing that.
That and Whole Lotta Red. Yeah, but more people were unified and being like, damn, this is it.
No, I don't know.
But yeah, definitely Man on the Move 3 was, we needed that.
Yeah.
I think the United States as a society, we needed that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Cuddy. Appreciate you for that one. For sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who else is supposed to. I think Isaiah Rashad had something in the works.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now at the Schoolboy Q. He had Crash Talk, which was in 2019. TDE is always working under the rug. Like they always have shit that's cooking up, and like you never know when it's gonna drop.
They definitely don't market as much as some of the other big labels. I don't think. Maybe I'm missing it, but I don't think I am because I follow them. But I just feel like other. Just like artists, but labels in general definitely try to market their like projects a lot more. Whereas like, TDE kind of like,
they're kind of notorious for that.
And then they'll drop it.
Drop a fucking bomb. Yeah. Who do you think is the best collective group? Like right now, I think there's like TDE, Dreamville's pretty solid. I don't know if you ever really fucked with Beast Coast, but that had like Joey Badass, Flatbush, who I just introduced you to, Nick Caution, the Underachievers. They're kind of Beast Coast is slept on, but I would say there's TDE, Dreamville, Beast Coast. I don't know. Is there anybody else?
You could say Young Money, but they're not really as active.
Yeah.
I'd say if we were like taking it back a few years, they'd definitely be in the conversation, but.
Do you think we'll ever see like a reunification of like Golf, like Loiter Squad, Odd Future, Wolfgang?
I would pay a lot of money to see it.
Because like Tyler and Earl are still friends.
Oh, they're all still
friends. They didn't have any bad. I don't think anything really went wrong when they split off.
I think they all just decided to like
go solo.
Take off with their individual careers. But like Taco and Tyler hang out all the time.
Yeah.
Taco's been acting. He's in Dave.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, I watched the first season.
Let's talk about Lil Dicky for a second.
Lil Dicky, he's an interesting character.
Correct me if I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, but you have your own opinion. If Lil Dicky wasn't a satirical rapper, he would be like one of the best in the game. If he if he wasn't Lil Dicky. Like I think if Dave wanted to rap like hard shit, like, you know what I mean?
You make a strong claim.
Because his flow, like lyrics, impeccable.
Have you seen like his freestyles on Sway and then like all those radio shows and shit? He's fucking rips it.
He's so clever.
Yeah.
Like he's so clever. And so I just think like with how much talent he has, like
I think
he could do some crazy
people don't take
things.
him seriously because he's...
Which, like, you're not... I mean, it's interesting because you're not supposed to take Lil Dicky seriously, technically, because he's satirical rapper, like he's a comedic rapper, but at the same time you do, simply because you hear how much he spits. Like,
yeah.
So it's like conflicting. You're like, oh, haha, Lil Dicky, but then you're also like, Lil Dicky. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. He's interesting, yeah, because, like, I don't really... You see a lot of people that talk about, like, struggles to get where they were at, but he was, like...
Yeah.
He used his bar mitzvah money to pretty much ignite his career, and I don't know if that gives him less credibility, but either way, it's astonishing that he's been able to get to the point to where he's at, because he is very fucking talented. Like,
the song Professional Rapper explains it perfectly. Like, it literally explains his whole gist. Like, you know what I'm talking about, where he's being, like, quote, interviewed by Snoop.
Yeah.
And he just, like, explains who he is and why he's doing this.
Yeah.
And, like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, he's trying to prove a point, and I think he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because I wonder where he would be if he... And I don't want to say, like, if he actually raps, because he is rapping. Like, he is a rapper, and he's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see where he would be if the subject matter of his rap was not, like, comedy or satire or, like, you know, like a very specific, like, agenda. Like, he made that rap about, like, the earth, like, environmentalism. Like, I think that was...
Was it really a rap, though? It sounded more...
Oh, no. It was, like, he did a little bit, and then it was, like, a song.
Yeah,
so, like,
and he had all
like
those... He had, like, Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande play, like, all those different animals.
So I'm just curious to see, like, what that would look like. But
one of my favorite...
I love him either way. Like, the Professional Rapper album...
I like Pillow Talking. I feel like that song is so fucking creative.
Dude!
Like,
it's so good. Featuring... The first time I saw it, I was like, who the fuck is Brain? Like, is this some new up-and-coming rapper or something that Lil Dicky knows?
Yeah.
And it's just him. It's his brain.
Yeah.
I just thought
that's
that was
such a
the
cool concept,
thing.
too. Yeah, I think now, like, going back to, as we were saying, there's those certain rappers that could take the next step in their career, like a JID or like a Denzel Curry, who are, like, very, very technically sound, very talented. I feel like if Lil Dicky took himself a little bit more seriously and switched up his rhythm or, like, what he wants to do with it, I think he could garner a lot more attention in the rap community.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of his. Like, I like what he's done, and he's just very impressive, but yeah, big fan.
What did you think of Dave? Did you watch Dave?
Yeah, I did watch Dave.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
It
was funny when they were just, like, casually smoking with, like, Young Thug at that party, and Dave was all weird. He was like, you should really, like, go home if you're sick.
Yeah.
Because they were, like, sharing the blunt, and then he, like, kicked him out, and Dave's girlfriend, what's her name?
I know the actress's name, Taylor. I don't remember her name in the show. But
anyway, they, like, get up, and she goes, bye, Young Thug. So, that show is, it's so funny.
I think my favorite scene...
I, like, cried laughing.
I think my favorite scene is when him and his girl are out in the garage.
Stop. I know...
Is he on top of the... No, he's on the bottom. Like, and
he's on
going
the
like
bottom.
this, getting ready to... Is he going for her asshole?
It's called... Yeah.
And
then the garage opens. Oh my god.
And they're like, what? That was the best. Yeah, I wasn't
my
expecting
jaw
that.
I was like... so funny.
I think they're in the works to have a season 2 as well.
Yep, they're working on it. Yeah, I really like Taco's great in that too. Yeah. His character's kind of a dick, but like he's a great actor.
Yeah, even the dude that is his manager in the show, Andrew his name in real life is Andrew Santino, and I'd seen he's actually a comedian in real life, so I'd seen a lot of his things. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast before, but it was interesting how they assembled, like obviously, like Taco being in there, that's interesting to me because I grew up watching Lawyer Squad, and then you got Dave, a very important rapper, I think, and then you pull this comedian. I didn't really know the girl, like his girlfriend. I don't know who she is. I'd never seen her in anything before the show.
She's in the Pillow Talking music video.
Oh, she is?
I think she's the girl.
Oh.
I think. I don't know. I could be wrong, though.
Interesting.
They look alike if it's not her. But.
Yeah. I'm afraid, because what could they do with the second show? How did they end it off? Was he like... he had made it at that point, right?
Yeah,
like by
yeah.
the last episode.
Because he opened up for Meek Mill.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to see how many, like, cameos other rappers have. Because those were always fun to see.
Yeah. Interesting questions.
Trippie Redd.
Trippie Redd. Was there... YG was in there, too.
YG was...
Justin Bieber, right?
Yeah, Justin
Bieber was in
Bieber.
there? Benny.
Yeah. Oh, the Kourtney Kardashian was in it.
Oh, that's right.
Who else? Well, Gunna and Young Thug were at that party.
I have a switch up that I just had a question that arrived to me. We're sticking on the topic of music. What are your top concerts that you've been to? I'm really interested to hear like who you've seen live and who puts on the best performance, because I got my ammo of like what I could say.
Well, I would love to tell you, but I've never been to a concert. I was never allowed to.
What? What?
Yep.
Should I ask why or should I not ask why?
I wish I was... My parents didn't let me go.
Your dad listened to rap and had that sort of influence on you, but wouldn't let you go to concerts?
He was
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was more just out of concern of like, not the music itself. It was more the concern of the environment of the concert. You know, like it didn't help that Lil Wayne came to the Quad Cities. Obviously, like I would love to go see Lil Wayne in concert.
To be able to have said that you've seen Lil Wayne, that's quite an accomplishment.
But yeah, it didn't help that like after that concert, people were always like, "Oh, I got secondhand high from just being in there," and stuff like that. And so it was never like, "Oh, you can't listen to this person." It was more just like concern about the environment. You know, the Quad Cities is not the safest place. So like, it was that, which like I understand, but at the same time, I'm such a big music person.
But
so
you've been in college for you're a junior now. How have you not been able to do it as now you are like on your own? You're not at your home during the school year. How have you not been able to find well, it's kind of hard because this last year there hasn't really been any opportunities. But even the first few years of college,
it's mostly just like either I'm too busy, it's too far, or I can't afford it.
Yeah. That's
honestly it. I remember Post Malone had a concert in Omaha that my roommate Maxie went to with like one of our friends, and like that would have been great to go to, but I had something going on. Like I know because I was busy like that whole night that she was going, because I remember I didn't see like all the, you know, concert footage till later, but like that's an example of a conflict. Travis was performing somewhere.
Seven Flags.
And me and Trent and like the boys wanted to go, and I just remember I was like, "There's no way in hell like I can swing that at the moment."
Yeah,
like,
that's the one I regret not going to.
That's one of my like goals actually. Is this summer I'm going to have an internship and also be coaching, and from coaching alone I'm gonna get close to $2,000, and then on top of that I'll have like a paid internship, and that is like I need to do that.
I was gonna say like
I need to go to a concert.
You have to have that experience for yourself. Like I understand what you're saying of like having events come up and not having enough money, but like I've always been able to justify like paying for something like that, even if I didn't have a lot of money, because it's like
I think some of it too is just like me being timid about it because I've never done it before. Like I
invited you to a concert.
Well,
you said fucking no.
Okay.
I know it's not like a legit like.
No, I'm not gonna diss your buddy. Like I'm sure he was good. Like I listened to like some of his stuff on his Instagram and stuff. But I think it's just like with those big concerts, like in my head I'm always like it's like reverting to old ways of thinking where I'm like, oh shit, well I'm not gonna, like I can't go, blah 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 blah. But that's like one of my biggest goals for like this next year is like I need to go to a fucking concert.
But you can go. You're on your own. You're in college. You make your own decisions.
I know.
I'm afraid your mom's gonna watch this.
Dude, yeah. She got on my ass last time for her.
I just think like ever since Mac Miller died, and luckily I got to see Mac perform when I was a sophomore in college, but like that really changed my whole thought process. Cause like Drake has come here and performed at Wells Fargo, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna go see it. But it's like, you should take up any experience that you have. So like I went and saw Earl Sweatshirt down in Lawrence, Kansas. Me and Dakota went, and I was like, it's a 4-hour drive, but like I'm not gonna pass that up. That may be like the only time that I ever get to see Earl Sweatshirt perform.
Yeah.
And he's like one of my favorite artists. Like I have to go.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely next like big opportunity, which people don't really do concerts right now.
No,
but
not
I
now.
need to do that, especially like my dad promised me that he was gonna take me to see Prince because he's seen Prince a few times. Well, no, I think only once or twice he saw Prince. He's been to a lot of concerts, but
yeah,
he was like, I promise I'll take you to see Prince one day.
Yeah, I mean, there's like those bucket list artists, like Red Hot Chili Peppers is one that I have to get to at some point. Like my parents have gone with each other, and I was younger, so they didn't bring me. But I don't understand because the first concert that I ever went to was Motley Crue, and they took me.
My dad's seen that.
And I was 8 years old. I was in 2nd grade. That was my first concert. And Tommy Lee, who's the drummer of Motley Crue, pulled out a camcorder, and it was hooked up. So, like, they had a big screen behind them. So, as he was filming the crowd, the footage was coming up on the big screen, and he was like, "Girls, show me them boobies." And my mom's like, "Oh, no." And then she covered my eyes, and I'm, like, looking around. I see all these girls on, like, guys' shoulders, and they're going like this, and I'm like, "Boobies!" So that was my first concert.
Whoa!
Whoa, first pair of tits at a concert.
Tough. I bet you felt tough that day.
So I remember I was like, I came
You like
home.
went back to your buddies. Hey, guess what I saw? Boobies.
Boobies! No way, bro.
Bro, you really
I don't know.
saw
I think
them?
like if I was 8 years old, I don't even know if I was like interested in women at that point.
You probably were just like, that's gross. Why are they naked?
Yeah, no, I just remember my mom like covering my eyes, and I was like, "What's going on?"
That's so funny.
Titties.
If we want to get technical, have you heard of the Mississippi Valley Fair?
No, I have not.
Well, you know how like the Iowa State Fair has those grandstand concerts?
Yeah.
They do that at the Mississippi Valley Fair, which is in Davenport. And I can listen to about anything and appreciate pretty much any genre except for country. I don't fuck with country at all. I'm so sorry. I never will.
I'm the same way.
I really never will. I won't even give it a chance, actually, which is whatever. But
It's just, I don't find it appealing at all. Like, maybe some old country. Like, I can respect, like, Johnny Cash and stuff like that.
Dolly Parton. I can get down to a couple of Dolly Parton songs.
But no, I'm sorry. Like, there's really nothing appealing to country.
But, so yeah, I've, like, gone to 2 of those, and they were country people. Big and Rich was the first one. They sang the only song I knew, which this song does go hard. Save a horse, right?
Hell yeah.
That song goes hard. Respect.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I knew. People were singing along to the other ones, and I was just like... And then, who was the other dude? I don't even remember the name of the second guy. He was cute. I remember that, but I didn't even know who this dude was. I just went, because, like, I didn't want to be a dick, and, like, I was just there with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So... that's shameful on my part. And then, do you know who Miranda Sings is?
Mm-mm.
She's like a YouTuber. I went in like 8th grade to hers like show, which isn't really a concert. It's like called a concert, but it's like her show. It's like comedy, and then she actually is like a really good singer. Like, the actual person, Miranda's just a character, but.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she did this one performance where she would switch from the Miranda voice to, like, her actual voice, and it was really cool. But, yeah, that's it.
It's just...
I've gone to, like, some, like, downtown, like, just, like, up-and-coming people, like, in the Quad Cities. Like, they had like a battle of the bands once that I went to, which was like cool. But no, I've never been to any real.
It's just so surprising to talk to a person that I respect. Like, I respect your music taste a lot, to have not been to like a concert, like an actual like signature concert in your entire life. Like, that is very surprising to ask that question and get that answer.
Yeah. No, it's.
I
Really
feel
upsetting.
bad for you.
I feel bad for myself.
Cause like I've been fortunate to see some of my favorite artists of all time. Oh, she's dipping out.
And
So proper.
some H2O.
Great etiquette of holding the cup.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah,
But I need to see Kendrick in concert. Need to see Travis in concert. I heard his concerts are insane.
mhm.
I would love to see Tyler in concert. Also heard that he's a great performer. I would like to see Childish Gambino in concert because I've heard he's also just a very great performer, and he like really tries to connect the audience. Who else?
I would, I.
Really, just like anyone I like, I just like want to go to a concert.
I'm mad that but it's kind of hard living in Iowa. Like, I really wanted to go to a Camp Flog Gnaw, because they have people like, well, I know the latest one where they had Drake as the headliner and he got booed off stage because they all thought it was gonna be Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
But like
That's so
Brockhampton has performed at Flog Gnaw. They've had Flatbush perform at Flog Gnaw before.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Of course, it would be Drake that would get booed off.
Especially since Drake has like tried so hard to kind of like brand himself as like, I wouldn't say he's like rebranded himself, but like he's tried so hard like in his more recent albums, I think, to be more of like a singing guy, and like do what Frank does kind of, and the fact that people were like, nah, get off stage, we want Frank.
I mean,
so funny.
It's like, what
Not
did you
funny,
expect though? Like,
Drake fans, I'm so sorry I'm saying
Don't
this.
apologize. Don't apologize. What were they expect? I mean, what was he expecting though? Like, you're at Camp Flog Gnaw. Like, what?
Yeah.
What was gonna, realistically, like, what was gonna happen?
Yeah.
Frank's another one. Is like, does he have any information on a new album that's coming out? Because he put out Cayendo. He's put out a few singles. Okay, I'm tired of this.
He was supposed to, I believe, but with his brother's death and everything, people have gone as far as to say he's done with music.
Am I just in the weeds? I didn't know his brother died.
Yeah, his brother died.
When?
In a car accident, I think.
Recently?
It was in 2020.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I didn't know
And him
that.
and his brother were really close. Like, a lot of his songs are like mention or like are kind of like catered, or I guess about the relationship with like his brother, and like his brother is someone he like loved deeply and like helped him out of like a lot of stuff, and so he was obviously devastated, and like he put like his work on halt, and I don't
That makes
know.
sense.
Well, here's something that pissed me off. When that happened, I was like looking at Twitter, and people were saying shit like, oh, well, now you know the album's gonna be really good because he's sad, or like, oh shit, does this mean like we're not getting the album? I'm like, oh my god, you people are heartless. Like, these guys are human beings too. Like, yeah.
They do that for everybody. I was watching, because now I'm just getting so caught up on the whole Brockhampton, like just their career, and they're talking about, I watched a YouTuber that does like music reviews and talking about like how people were responding to when Amir got kicked out of the group, like so selfishly, like how they weren't like gonna get music or something. And it's like, think about Brockhampton. Think about how upset that they are that they had to let their brother go. Like, they didn't want to let him go.
Or just like learn that someone you were close with did something terrible. It's like also very hard.
Yeah, and they're all dealing with it too.
Yeah.
We put these people on pedestals, like they don't fucking experience the same emotions and feelings that we do.
I will say, I think like, well, actually no, I won't even say this. I think I'm only saying this because I see it the most often, because I predominantly listen to hip hop and rap and R&B, but like I think there are some rap fans out there, or just communities of like rap fans who are just like relentless and like very tone deaf when it comes to like the fact that these people are people. Like, yeah, they're a celebrity and yeah, they have a very like big platform and like I guess a lot of power as far as pop culture goes, but like they are also human beings who can experience trauma and like real shit. And so the fact that I was seeing that, especially with how emotional Frank's music already is, and how open he's been about some of the shit he's dealt with through his music, like he didn't need to do that, but he did, and like that's part of what makes him so great. And so the fact that people who call themselves fans of his were being that tone deaf, oh, I was so angry.
They have like huge blinders on when it comes to those things. I saw people do that with Mac too, where they were like, it wasn't necessarily when he died, but I had seen comments about people saying like, oh, like his new shit isn't as good as his shit when he was on drugs, almost to signify like, oh, we like Mac when he's on drugs. Well, you know, he's had an issue with drug abuse for a while now, so why the fuck would you ever wish for somebody to get back on drugs because quote unquote their music was better?
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
So I heard someone say that about Chance. They were like, his music was way better when he did Acid or something. Yeah. Which, like, I agree. His last album was underwhelming, to say the least. You had that in your top 5 for 2020, didn't you? Chance the Rapper's album? Yeah. The white one? Like the white cover? That was Childish Gambino. Oh, fuck. Yeah, okay. My bad. My bad. His most recent album was definitely underwhelming, but I loved Coloring Book and Acid Rap. But, like, people were like, you know, he was better when he did drugs. I'm just like, if they're choosing not to do drugs, there's definitely a reason for it. So, like... Yeah. People are selfish when it comes to music and their interest and not thinking about the livelihood of, like, other people. Yeah, like, it's just, like, celebrities in general. And, like, you'd think that there's, like, a line set that you shouldn't cross, but people cross it. Like, another thing that really pissed me off was when X died, how people were saying, like, and these weren't rap people, these were, like, pop fans, like, I'm not going to stereotype. It was just people who don't really know him or listen to him were saying stuff like, he deserved to die, or, like whatever, because... of like his allegations, the harmful shit he had done. Which, like, part of those with his one ex, I forget her name, Geneva? No, I don't even know. I'm not even gonna try to guess, but like, from what I know, and I've like looked into it, like, she was proven to have lied, which is why like the charges were dropped and everything, and like she was proven to have lied like under oath about like that whole controversy. But that's besides the point. I truly believe he was trying to turn himself around towards the end of his career, and I thought he was a very talented rapper. Plus I really liked his hard shit early on. But I would have liked to see him develop, and it's sad that such a young person, like, no one deserves to die, especially that young. Isn't that the nasty thing though about like social media and like cancel culture and shit? Is like they look at people's flaw. Like even the dude, was it the Carson King guy? Like he got torn apart for tweets and things that he had posted on his social media account like years before that, like when he was in high school. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with cancel culture is, I think if the person has consistently educated themselves and made the like heartfelt effort to change, then they deserve like respect, and like it shouldn't blow up and stuff. But there are certain cases where like there's no excuse for something said, but it's just like the thing that people were just saying that he like deserved it, or that like people shouldn't mourn because like of what he might have done. And it's just like that, it's all selfish, because saying things like that is just very insensitive, you know, like, well, maybe if Lil Peep didn't do this and that, like talking about, I guess, downplaying addiction is another big topic, and then just being selfish when celebrities go through hard shit, like only thinking of their products, like when is Frank's music coming out? Is it going to be pushed back now because he's sad? Oh, it's going to be good now because he's sad. What the fuck? Like, people just need...
On the flip side of that coin too is like the people that are in charge, like their music labels that put out music after they die. I had told you that I thought Mac Miller's Circles was probably the most respectful way to go about releasing something that's posthumous, because his family was in charge of it and they got a hold of John Bryan, who he was actually working with when he was making the album, so they kind of gave it to him to kind of like tweak it and finish it. But you've seen this like with Juice WRLD and XXS, like they put together, they compile like songs that maybe weren't really meant to be released or weren't fully finished, and it's like it's all for like a cash grab, and it's like that's kind of sinister.
Big thing that happened with Prince. His manager, London McMillan, like giving tours around Paisley Park, and like just completely like, know what word to use. Not exposing him, because that makes it sound like bad, but just profiting off
capitalizing
off of like his life and legacy in a way that he wouldn't have wanted. Like everyone who's a fan of Prince knows that he would not have wanted that shit to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's stripping like the artist's integrity and their vision, because like even though I think like I'm going to go back to Mac Miller here and say that he kind of already had a vision ironed out for what he wanted for Circles, but you don't know what he would have done like weeks leading up to releasing that. He might have gone many different routes to change, certain sounds and the way to release it, like how he wanted people to see it or to be interpreted. So, you can never really, you're not that person, you're not that artist, you don't know what their vision was. Like, I think that's very fucked up to capitalize on something that they made and probably, for a lot of those people, it wasn't really finished. It wasn't the final product. And maybe they didn't even want people to hear it. You could say there's a lot of artists, they probably have tons of music stored in the vaults that they maybe aren't comfortable with releasing just yet.
I don't want to take a grim turn of this podcast, but I remember one of my friends who's a big rap connoisseur, one could say. One of my friends believes that Lil Wayne's last album is his last album. Like, he thinks he's dying before he makes a new one.
Which one? Because he's dropped something after the Carter 5, which...
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if they're considered album. Yeah. He's had a few projects that he's put out.
Well...
Maybe they're mixtapes, I don't know.
There's I guess, must be some conspiracy going around that he won't be around for much longer, and he is aware of that.
Like he's fading out? Like he doesn't have a spot in music anymore?
No,
he's
might die.
What?
Cause the Cardi 5 Deluxe, is that what you're talking about? Funeral.
Yeah, there was a few ones. Oh, I can't check my phone because it's recording.
Well, yeah, because he has just because of his various addictions that he's had before his life, his use of lean, he has a seizure problem now, and I don't know if it's
really?
from the lean, but yeah, there have been conspiracies circulating that I don't know. I really hope.
The last song he dropped on January 21st, 2021 is called Ain't Got Time. God. Yeah, okay, Funeral, that was the last one I was thinking about that dropped in 2020.
Funeral?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
There's a prevailing theme here.
He better not. He better not. I
don't know. Ain't got time. What does that mean?
He's lived a tough, his body's been through it, definitely, and his dependency on lean and doesn't help and stuff.
It'll catch up with you at some point. Yeah. That's why.
That'll be a big loss to the rap community.
That's why it's you look at
that'll be a big hit.
You look at a lot of these people and you just hope that they find mentors that can bring them through to the other side, because it's how would you deal with something like fame and all those people that are prescribing to your music and saying you're the shit 1 minute, and then you got the negative zombies in the corner that come up and talk shit about your music and can be very demoralizing on social media, like in their criticism, or like, you know, the journalists that disseminate music that really don't know what they're talking about. Like, how do you handle like criticism and judgment and all that? Like, criticism is okay, but I imagine like that's a hard thing to deal with. Like,
Oh, definitely, especially for younger artists. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting to think about. I really hope it's not true because, like I said, that'll be a huge hit to the music industry as well. Like,
yeah,
he's done a lot of shit, and he's been very iconic in the rap game. But yeah, no.
That would be a tough blow.
That would be
to the rap community. Like, people think of Kobe, and Kobe was so multi-dimensional, not just for sports, but like just everything he accomplished in his career. I mean, like Lil Wayne, that would be a heavy hit, like Kobe was.
Heavy hit, yeah, definitely.
So
he also has the toughest bar of all time. Real G's moving silence like lasagna.
Oh,
the
yes.
Toughest bar
yes.
of all time.
Dude.
That whole song, he just goes nuts. He said, what was the bar? Peanuts to an elephant. I got through that sentence like a subject and a predicate.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
I tend to forget like how much he's influenced me in music, because he was one of those first rappers that I listened to, like on the surface, but then I just got deeper into rap. Like, he was kind of one of the artists that like really introduced me to rap.
Yeah, same. I think that's pretty common.
Him, and then like Tyga. You remember Tyga?
Yeah.
He actually had some really good stuff back in the day.
Yeah,
he's pretty
good in features. For the most part.
There's a few rappers that have. I think of him. I think of like Waka Flocka Flame, who had some really heavy shit back in the day, but then kind of fell off.
Wiz Khalifa too.
Wiz, yeah.
He's not as active.
No. What do you? This is a question that I wanted to ask you about. Like, what did you think of? Did you listen to MGK's newest album? Did you ever get into Machine Gun Kelly?
I listened to him a little bit when I was younger, but no, I haven't. Hasn't he kind of like switched back and forth with like rock?
He's doing. It's almost
or like punk.
It's
stuff?
it's like pop punk. And there's like elements of rap, but he's really kind of moved away. He's kind of reviving that genre. Like, it reminds me of like an early like Blink-182 in the 90s. And he had Travis Barker do the drums for the entire album, and then also produce the album. Originally, I didn't really care for the album, but the more I've listened to it, like it's again one of those situations where like I have great respect for him because he tried something different. He went from rapping, and he wasn't a bad rapper.
Oh no,
either.
he was hard. He was pretty hard.
He sounds pretty good.
He made like fighting people music. Like, I'd listen to him.
Well, then he got in that whole fucking back and forth with Eminem, and that really like.
Oh yeah,
that didn't bode well for him.
If there's one thing that young rappers, especially young white rappers, need to learn, don't try to start shit with Eminem because you won't win. You won't win. Eminem is one of the most iconic rappers of all time.
I agree.
I definitely think he's one of the greats as well. You just don't fuck with him.
I agree, but I feel like he's kind of cringy at this moment be engaging in a rap battle with a very less superior artist in MGK. I love MGK. I think MGK, just as every other rapper, has something to bring to the genre, but like you're not gonna step above Eminem, and especially in a fucking rap battle or a diss track.
That's why he's just so unfuckwittable, is because like it doesn't matter how big. Thank you. It doesn't matter how like big or whatever you are. Like, he's not the type that's gonna take shit and just like whatever. No, he's gonna respond and he's gonna win. Like, he's very tough. So I think people need to get that through their head, because there was someone else who tried to start shit with him. And
white rapper?
No, I don't think so.
I'm trying to think of who else he's had beef with. Like, you think of the signature back and forth, there's like Drake and Meek Mill.
Drake and Pusha T.
Which,
unpopular opinion, also gonna get a lot of hate for this. Pusha T.
Fuck.
Pusha T is a better rapper than Drake. There, I said it.
Oh God!
There,
Dear
I
God!
said it. Daytona.
I don't know this woman.
Daytona. That album.
Spice and meatball rolls off the tongue.
Did you listen to Daytona?
I did, yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan. I've always liked him. I think he's a good rapper. He's a good lyricist too, especially like Daytona was honestly like my intro to him, kind of. Like I had heard like a few of his songs, like a few of his features, like he's in like Move That Dope and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like I didn't really realize how good he was until I listened to Daytona straight through.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
And that was like right around the time that Ye came out, because I think he's on a track on Ye, and then I think Kanye helped produce Daytona, but then there was Kids See Ghost, and then he appeared on one track for Kids See Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a fan of Pusha T, but yeah, that's one of those big beefs. If we're talking everyone,
I'm having a hard time remembering like who's had beef with one another.
Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj and Cardi.
Never paid attention to that.
It's a big one.
No.
Basically, Lil Kim got pissed because I don't know if it was in an interview or what, but someone asked Nicki who her inspirations was, and she didn't mention Lil Kim. And some people were like, how can you not mention Lil Kim? Like, you're a female rapper, whatever. Lil Kim was mad or upset about it, and it like just blew up. And I think they had some diss tracks back and forth. In my opinion, Nicki completely shit on her, like, but
she's the queen. She has to take a shit on her.
Yeah, I'm sorry, like, respect to Lil Kim, because, like, respect to all female rappers in those days, like, in the older days of rap, like, obviously you have my respect, but, like, Nicki Minaj is just a different breed.
Top
and,
notch.
like, yeah, like, I think that she's had inspirations, but she's also so self-made, and, like, the fact that no one's, like, can even, like, come close to her, in my opinion, like, says something. So, like, that's my opinion on the matter. Same with Cardi B. Cardi B doesn't even deserve to try to start beef with Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time respecting like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Like I think Nicki's the queen of kind of creating that image, that mold, because they kind of remind me of her, but she's the one to start.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love Megan. I'm a big fan of hers. Her freestyles too. She shit on pretty much everyone in her cipher except for DaBaby. She was with freaking Lil Mosey, another dude I don't even recognize. There might have been one other person, just like, they were just terrible. You need to watch it, because they were so bad, and then Megan gets the mic, just pisses on him, and like, you can see their faces in the background. They're just like,
wow, dude.
Cause like, no, I really
shouldn't even try anymore.
I really like Megan. I think she's like rap, like her flow, like her voice, love her. Also like, say what you want, but like, I feel like tough and like empowered when I hear that stuff. Like, it just makes me feel like such a bad bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of men have opinions on that, but
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I love her.
Because I have music that gets me to my masculinity much faster than other songs in the gym as well.
Yeah.
And I think as we're encouraging like females to find that place, and especially like historically in rap, like more of a male dominated field, I think that should be encouraged. I just wonder, like, is she then kind of like encouraging that generation of girls to like kind of do the same thing?
I think she's also been pretty clear with her intentions, that like, she's made it very clear on like social media that like, she is not supposed to be a role model. Like, she's a musical artist.
Okay. She's
making music for herself that she feels empowers herself and could empower other people. And like, she's explained that like a hot girl, because like her thing is like real hot girl shit. But like to her, she's been like very transparent on social media. Like a hot girl isn't a girl like who looks a certain way, dresses a certain way. A hot girl is any girl who is true to herself and does whatever the fuck she wants, and it just like bosses up. You know what I mean? Like, so she's not trying to inspire anyone to be a certain way, and like, you know.
Do you think by default though she kind of falls into that category of being a role model because of like her status in rap and how prolific she's been over the last how many years? Like it's she can say that, but like she kind of falls into that category by default. Like women are gonna look up to her, especially younger girls are gonna look up to her as a role model.
Like I think that happens with every celebrity. Like with that platform, you have to acknowledge the fact that like, you know, you're gonna have a following. But I think with her voicing that fact as much as she can, she's trying to at least be as transparent as possible. As like, I don't consider myself as someone that like younger girls should look up to. I'm just a musical artist. I make music that I think people are gonna like and vibe with, and that I vibe with, and like I'm just using my talents. Like, you know what I mean? It's
important to communicate that too. Like,
so I think she's been really good at that, honestly. Like, because with the type of music she makes, it's obviously gonna stir up like some controversy from certain people. So I think her saying that is really important. But yeah, I love Megan Thee Stallion. Also, did you know she's been taking like online classes like this whole time to get her bachelor's in healthcare administration.
I did not know that. That's badass though. She's dipping down double time.
I know, she's tough. But yeah, after this I want to show you that cipher because it's literally just ass. Megan goes off. DaBaby has a good freestyle as well. But yeah, it's just really funny just to see how she just blows the other dudes out of the water.
Yeah, and again, like my exposure to these newer artists is kind of, it's not really there. It's sort of like by choice. Like I just never fell into that. And to me, she doesn't appeal to me. Like I don't look at her and be like, oh yeah, like I would like to listen to it more. Like the only thing I've heard from her is WAP. Like that's all I've heard. Girls that I work with at COC are like, oh my god, yeah, this is like my fucking anthem. And I'm like, okay, alright. I don't know what to say.
You should give a listen to a couple songs. She's actually made some great use of sampling as well. She has some great samples. Add one to the list. Okay. Actually, I don't know if I'll add it. I'll put the option out there.
I'll listen to it.
You know, it's very much targeted towards women, but you know, you can respect.
You know, I got a feminine side, so
you can respect the flow and like, you know, all that stuff.
You can always learn something from artists that you haven't heard of.
Yeah, I don't know. Her Fever album had a lot of really good samples, in my opinion. I loved Girls in the Hood. Did you hear that?
No.
That was great. She basically just like redid Boys in the Hood.
Oh, really?
Like here, I'm just gonna play like the intro so you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because like you can pick it up pretty much right away.
Oh, okay, yeah. Damn.
Tough. Yeah, no,
I respect it. I got nothing against it. I would say, like, I really like MGK and I really respect what he did. I know not everybody's going to agree with that opinion, but I also think people like to hate on the fact that other people can be successful and can try something different.
For sure. What else was I trying to think of other female artists.
We're over an hour, you know.
Yeah, we can.
We're going pretty far in.
We can stop whenever.
Well, one of the bigger things I want to talk about was Matt, because obviously like that's what I'm really into. Like, what are your favorite things that he's put out? Like, what did you think of Swimming? And did you listen to Circles at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've listened to both. I mean, I don't have an album of his that I dislike. I mean, I think all of his stuff is great. Circles was definitely very like emotional. I liked.
That one was. I mean, it's tough to get through, but there was a lot. There was a lot of clarification.
Those songs were very sentimental too.
That's a perfect album for winter. Like when I think of the description of winter, of like what goes on in my mind, I think of that album, like the sounds.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Weird.
Because it came out last January, so that was like right before the pandemic had hit. But I remember that being like it was just a perfect inscription of like how I felt on the inside. I wasn't really depressed at that time, but like, I mean, it's sort of melancholy. And like when you think of sitting inside, looking out your window and watching the snow fall, I think of an album like that. Like that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, I don't know. Those, both Swimming and Circles, I think were just very emotional, sentimental albums. And like, I was a fan of them. Like I liked them both. Obviously, I think for those two albums in particular, I have to be in a certain mood to listen to those songs.
Yeah.
Like I have to be in a certain mindset, certain vibe. But that, you know, that doesn't take away from how good it is. Obviously my favorite album is The Divine Feminine.
Oh wow, really?
Oh.
That's actually I respect it. I don't dislike it, but it's probably my least favorite album that he ever put out.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
But and that's what's hard because I love Swimming and Circles, and I feel like
Did you like Macadelic?
Yes, but I feel like on The Divine Feminine, that's where he was really starting to branch out for like where he was wanting to go with his sound, and then you just kind of see that further exemplified on Swimming and then Circles.
Oh, I don't know.
But watching movies with the sound off is like my second favorite because that came out when I was a sophomore or a junior, and that I remember just bumping that shit in my 2006 blue Honda Civic with the black rims, and like that was the soundtrack to the summer, and it was so experimental and like trippy and lucid, and that's kind of what formulated like I feel like it really crystallized a lot of what I listen to today, like from that album. Like that molded my youth in high school. But Blue Slide Park was really good too. I feel like Blue Slide Park, watching movies, Good AM are above The Divine Feminine. And I do like The Divine Feminine. I don't dislike it.
I don't know.
But
I think
that mixtape, if you have not heard Faces, that is a fucking masterpiece.
I think I did listen to that because you told me to.
It has 25 tracks. It's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I listened. I found it on YouTube. Like I found all of them straight together on YouTube, and I was like cleaning my room one time, and I was just listening to it. Yeah, no, it was good. It definitely like had aspects of I think every project he's put out so far in different ways.
Yeah.
So I kind of like liked picking up on that. Just kind of like, I think it like when was this? When was it?
That was in between. So, Watching Movies came out in 2013. That came out in 2014, and then it was Good AM in 2016.
Because so it was. I don't want to say early, but it was before he definitely branched out a lot more, like as we've seen with like Circles and Swimming, and like I kind of picked up some of those vibes and like saw his versatility listening to all of those songs. But yeah, The Divine Feminine, I think is just very like, what's the word? Ethereal? Is that how you say it? Ethereal? Ethereal?
Something like that.
Something.
A variation.
It's just, it's so like atmospheric, like,
it's a good album.
Like Soulmate, Skin, God is Fair, Sexy, Nasty is one of my favorite songs of all time.
What's the feature with Ty Dolla $ign, Cinderella?
That was about Ariana.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that, but
I didn't know that.
It just gets me in such a like melodic, peaceful, it's just such a vibe, and like, it's like, there are some, like, they're very romantic, like, some of them are like very sexual, and like, then they're just like very like, I just feel good, and like, they're very, I don't know, they're just set to certain moods, and they execute, words are hard, they execute.
Unfuckwittable. They execute. Man, your vocabulary is diverse.
Thanks, man. They execute those moods flawlessly, and then on top of that, the music is just so beautifully like composed, and
I think every album invokes like a certain amount of feeling. Like I get a lot of nostalgia from Blue Slide Park. That's always an interesting thing when musicians can capture like the feeling of nostalgia because it's their experience in music. He's particularly going back to his childhood. That's the whole idea of Blue Slide Park. But it makes you feel nostalgic about your own life.
Yeah.
And then watching movies with the sound off was like experimental and weird, and it just, I don't know, it was so, it was like a perfect stamp for like where I was at in my life at that time, being like a junior and like really trying to figure out, you know, the clique that I wanted to fit in with, and like those are formative years. And then Good AM was that got me through a breakup. And then Faces, I didn't get into Faces until like after, like a few years after it came out. But then yeah, like Swimming just takes me back to like when I like decided to take time away from college, and I didn't realize like how long that hiatus was gonna be. But then like when I look back at that moment in time when Swimming came out, like there were things that were going on in my life that I didn't realize that at that point were going to shift the way that I thought about life. But I didn't know that at that time.
Yeah.
And that same thing that Amine talked about when Kobe died, of like there was this part of him that matured when Kobe died. That's the thing that I couldn't describe when Mac Miller died, but like I felt like a part of my younger self died off, and there was like this instant maturity that I've always like been more mature than guys my age, but I felt that there was this like, I don't know how I'm trying to put it, like it wasn't like an ego death. I'm not trying to sound like spiritual and shit right here, but something happened, something shifted.
There was just a shift in your like perception and like
I'll never
mindset.
forget. I literally like remember like so he died on September 7th, and then 3 days later I flew to California with the girl that I was with at that time, and then I moved her from California to Iowa. Like the sequence of everything that happened, like I'll never forget that. I usually don't remember dates, but I remember.
Oh yeah, no. When Prince died, I went to Catholic school. Blah blah blah. I was at this like retreat that we would always do, like this church retreat type thing, and there was like a break, like we had like a little free time, so people were on their phones, and like everyone who knows me knows I'm a massive Prince fan. Like that's just like, if you like know me somewhat well, you know that.
I know that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of my friends that like I grew up with was like, Liv, did you hear? And I was like, did I hear what? She was like, I think Prince died. I was like, no, he didn't. And she was like, no, like I think he did. And she like pulled up the article and like showed me, and then I like kept scrolling to find different articles to see if they were saying the same thing, and they were. And I had to go to the bathroom and so I could cry during this fucking Catholic school retreat for 16-year-olds. I literally had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom so I could bawl my eyes out.
I'm not trying to laugh, but like I can easily relate, because that's the same thing that happened. I was still living with my parents, and I was downstairs, and I was like watching YouTube videos. I was actually on Instagram, and I had seen that Mac posted literally like the night before on his Instagram story, he was listening to the last track of Swimming, the outro to So It Goes. And then my brother like opens the door and he's like, hey, did you see that Mac Miller died? And I'm like, I just listened to it, or I just looked at his story that was like from 10 or 11 hours ago, or whatever the hell amount of time it had been. And I'm like, no, that didn't happen. And then I go on Twitter, and it's like exploding with all these tweets about how he had died. And then you're sitting there thinking like, okay, he's going to hop on here at some point and say like, hey, this is a hoax, this isn't true.
I was like, there's no
misreport,
way,
whatever. Yeah.
But no, I think Mac was definitely the second most significant celebrity / artist death. Or it hit me the hardest after, second to Prince.
Oh, I cried.
Oh yeah, so
I don't cry very often, but
I cried for Mac too, but I hysterically cried for Prince. Find out my dad did the same thing in his cubicle at work when he found out.
What's your viewpoint on religion and spirituality?
Ooh. Well, actually, so real quick, going back to why I love the Divine Feminine so much, is because that kind of I had a shift in mindset as well, because that's such a spiritual like album, like every song incorporates some type of like message related to like the interconnectedness of people, like the spirituality, like how like the relationship to the divine, like the universe. Like I feel like especially God is Fair, Sexy, Nasty, like I will never remember like the first time I heard like the beat drop where it's open your legs and then it's like I was like oh fuck. And then just like, you know, like some of the lyrics, just like what they talk about, it like how just like creatures, like how people are meant to love each other and how we're all connected in ways, and like it just like it definitely got me thinking of like I guess reality and like relationships in a different way, and
how
like
important they are.
Yeah. And just like how, you know, how the universe is just like connected in certain ways.
The reason I asked that is because, so, like I said, Mac Miller's probably the most prolific, or I should say the most significant artist that I've listened to, where it doesn't, like when I listen to him, I feel like I know this guy from his music because of how honest he was. And he consistently transformed my thought process with every album that he released. But so this is like the craziest story that I have, and this is again kind of furthered my understanding of like, I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual. I definitely think that I think there is something else. I just don't know how to describe that.
That's
when his family announced on January 8th of last year about the release of Circles, and the night before I had a dream with him. Like Mac visited me in a dream, and him and I were like sitting across the table from one another, and this was like at the point where, don't kiss her, dude. Like she's gonna like start puffing up. She's gonna look like a blowfish.
That actually happened to me quite a few times.
You know you can push them off. But anyways, so I had this dream, and Mac was across the table from me, and this was like when I was starting my journey with podcasting, so like I was very enthusiastic about it, and him and I remember vividly, like in the dream, we both had notebooks, and we were writing down topics that we wanted to talk about on the podcast. And like after I woke up and shit, I was like, well, like, I never have dreams with Mac Miller. Like I gotta write this shit down. So I wrote like a heartfelt message to him, like how it made me feel, like having him visit me in the dream. And then the next day, his parents announced that Circles, the posthumous release, the whole concept of swimming in circles. It's a companion piece to Swimming, my favorite album, the most profound album that Mac, in my eyes, has ever released. It was like, how do you describe that? Like it's a dream. So people don't really know what dreams are, like what happens when you go to sleep, like, because it's not, sometimes it could be memories, but sometimes your mind just makes up all these crazy scenarios when you sleep. But I truly think like his spirit or like his essence came to me in the dream. It would have been crazy if like in the dream he was like, yeah, I'm gonna drop an album,
drop this thing,
Circles or whatever,
called Circles. Just be ready for
but it was weird because the next day his parents hopped on and said that, and I was like,
that's crazy.
I was like, what?
Yeah, that's wild.
Because I never have, I mean, I do have dreams with Mac, but
it's never him like addressing you.
It was weird. It was like, it felt important. It felt like I had to be listening in that moment, and then I wrote about it in my journal.
Tough. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely, obviously went to Catholic school literally from kindergarten to 12th grade. And I have a lot of problems with the Catholic Church because of that. I have no interest in being a part of like organized religion anymore at all. Like the thought of going to church just like makes me uncomfortable. Like I don't like going to church, and it's not because like I just don't like being there. Like I just don't like it. And
I mean, again, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but like do you have bad memories from like your childhood and like being forced to go there?
I wouldn't say I didn't have like any specific bad memories. It's more just the fact that like we were so heavily indoctrinated from such a young age, and like just I think that Catholic education and the church like just goes about their teachings in the wrong way. Like there's so much, it's so much like fear based. Like don't do this or you'll go to hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not what you should be teaching little kids, especially. Like, teach them to be a good person. Like, you know.
And that's the frustrating things. I think a lot of what's prescribed in the Bible is to like act and like lead a commendable life. Like it's like guidelines, it's like tenets, but like the people that prescribe religion to other people are the problem.
Definitely.
I don't think religion is terrible. I think it's the people that push religion.
Yeah, and like the Bible has been rewritten, retranslated so many times. It's so distorted from its original text. Like, for example, the word homosexuality was not even in the original Bible. They were referring to, I believe, pedophiles, honestly, in the beginning. But the Bible has been like transcribed so many different times, and different denominations have or different people have adapted it in their own way, and they push certain agendas, especially like within education, to where now in certain Bibles it's translated to homosexuals, which that was not the original intent at all. And now many people are very discriminatory and hateful towards the LGBT community, and I'm just like, why are we preaching I guess I don't know. I just think it goes about everything in the wrong reasons. I was in it for way too long, and it's just I'm just not interested or comfortable just being there anymore. I just don't enjoy it.
That's really interesting. So I actually had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I showed them a video because her and I had a respectful conversation. She's religious, I'm not, but there seems to be this link between psychedelics and religion, and you got to think that those people back in the day got a hold of some shit. They saw God on their trip, and how would you describe that? So you were just saying how you were saying how it's been transcribed from many different texts and different. I have to pee really bad.
You weren't supposed to say that.
Oh, sorry. I had to read it out loud. Yeah, we can finish up here soon. This is a huge topic that we just stumbled on.
Okay.
We're gonna have to do a part 2 podcast. Yeah, but there's this strong argument, and maybe I'll send you the video too. It's off of Rogan, there's a guy that actually literally tried to debunk and take back what the original words meant from how it's all been transcribed.
That'd be interesting.
Came up with this idea that they actually thought the whole word Jesus was.
It actually translates to something completely different.
I'll send you the video because I'm going to totally butcher the way that they were talking about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are just crazy, so many discrepancies from the original Bible to that Bible we know now.
Yeah. And
just the fact that people pick and choose. It's so problematic.
Well, one of the biggest things I had seen in this video was they talk about the burning bush in the Bible, and people are starting to think that was actually it was marijuana or some psychedelic. So what if they were smoking that herb, which this shit is all natural and grown on the planet. They had to have found some psychedelics or some marijuana, and then they got high and they thought they were talking to God.
Maybe.
It's possible.
I don't want to say that because
I'm just saying look into it.
But yeah, definitely.
I'm just saying look into it. I think there's validity. I think that, like you said, a lot of things are indoctrination, and anytime you go against the grain, people try to silence that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think there are good parts to every religion. I took world religions here, and I loved it because I was finally able to learn about other religions.
Mm-hmm.
And there are great. I think the aspects about Christianity that need to be preached more are the great parts of it. I loved going to FCA for a while, even though I don't consider myself Catholic. It's just because that's what's it's doing the good things that I think Jesus would want, you know. But yeah, I consider myself agnostic at this point, which means I believe in a higher power. I just don't know what that is, and I don't really have any interest in organized religion.
So you're not the extreme. Well, okay, agnostic is different than atheist.
Yeah, no, I believe that there's a God or higher being that started everything, but I just, kind of indifferent.
Yeah.
At
No,
this point,
I was.
Which is what happens. I'm not alone in that. More than I argue more than half of my grade is pretty indifferent towards religion, honestly.
And that's the interesting thing is we're losing what used to be heavy ties towards religion. So that's why I like to ask people that, because I think it is changing. I think religion is suffering to some extent, and they just try and get people to come back in. But anyways, we're at like an hour and 30 minutes, so I'm gonna close it there.
Alright, sounds good.
It's been fun talking to you. I don't know, we don't have a handshake. I was about ready to like create one just on air.
Oh, flick it?
I don't know. Have you ever done the comfortable handshake?
What?
Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like,
oh.
Isn't that fucking sick? It's
Yeah.
comfortable.
Totally.
We'll just be like very serious, like look at each other in the eyes, like.
I don't know if you ever see,
Okay, we're done
I don't know if you ever see, like,
see you guys.
whenever I walk into, hey guys, bye.